That's it, we're live.
Happy days.
I'm delighted to be joined by what is Ireland's most famous builder at the moment, Graham Byrne. Welcome to the live cast construction experience. What do you think of this?
Thanks very much.
What do you think of this little...
Yeah, it's nice. Looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Graham, step
Graham,
up.
I have loads of questions to ask about Room to Improve, and I'm looking forward to getting into that. But we like to go back and understand the person behind the business when we get into this sort of stuff. So tell me, when did you qualify and what did you qualify as initially?
I qualified in 2009 as a carpenter joiner.
Right. I didn't know this.
Did you not?
2009.
There you go.
So I qualified in... Jeez, you younger than me?
34.
Just about. So I qualified as a carpenter, and were you in Bolton Street?
Yeah.
So I qualified as a carpenter in Bolton Street in 2006. So you were a few years out. So
I would have been in phase 4 in 2006. We probably passed during the halls.
you
Or,
know,
yeah.
what was the pub on the corner?
Bodkins.
Probably
Yeah.
shared a pub on a Friday afternoon in Bodkins.
Maybe so. Yeah.
So this is interesting because you stayed and decided to go out on your own and open up and have a crack at a business in the middle of a recession.
Yeah.
I decided not to, right? So we would have qualified similar age, similar trades, but in very different paths. What was your thinking behind it? Was there any thinking about going abroad, or did you whatever enter your mind?
It did occur. I mean, I suppose it was the current climate at the time. Sort of around 2007, summer 2007, I went self-employed as a carpenter. So 2 years before I was even qualified as such.
Right.
And I was foreman on that site at the time on the Phoenix Park racecourse.
Yeah.
And it was just a case of, we knew work was slowing down. We're about a year into it, let's say. Into 2008, we had decided, myself and the business partner Aidan, we both decided things were slowing down. We needed to sort of do a bit more to try and get a bit more work in, do more than carpentry as such. So we decided to form a sole trader partnership together at the time. And that's just the direction we decided to go in, because we knew the sites were slowing down and it was time to move on, and everybody knew the economy was coming down at the time, you know.
Did you have a pipeline of work at that stage, or were you just hoping to pick up work along the way, or?
Not a scratch of work to be had. So the first thing we turned to at the time was probably a small bit of Google. We didn't have a website, so we couldn't do a whole lot. Yeah. So I think Golden Pages was the big thing back then. And at the time, even at the time, that was coming to the end of its reach, because the internet was obviously around quite a few years, and it didn't work for us, so we didn't do it again after that, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously it took a while to get the wheels turning on that, did it? Or
it took a long time.
Yeah.
I would say before we even took a solid wage, it would have been midway through 2012.
Right.
So quite a long time. We were taking dribs and drabs in those couple of years, and basically we were just forming dead up, trying to build a company up to something, you know.
Yeah. Building a company in a recession, one of the hardest things you do. I mean, for me it was just, I just made a decision. I said, I think there could be a better opportunity for me to go away. Plus I had that little itch to go away anyway. Yeah. So there was something in me that said, I think, but very different avenues, and here we are, we both end up at the same table anyway in the end. So there we go. How did you get it going? Like how did you manage? You're in a really good place now. You got a smashing company, interesting structure to the company. What would you say was the number one thing that sort of got you there? I suppose after you're nearly 11 years nearly gone. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't think it's a case of any number one thing. It's a culmination of many things. It's just solid hard work. Yeah. Never giving up, I suppose. Look, you give up your life for at least the first 6-7 years. Yeah. You're pretty much every evening out chasing work, you're out quoting for stuff, you're out looking at things, or else you're back doing paperwork or wherever. Your life is gone when you're a business owner or such like that, you know, till you get it to a certain point. But I wouldn't say it's any one thing. It's just serious hard work, not giving up, because there's plenty of knocks at the same time as well, you know.
Do you still get that? I mean, obviously the one you just pulled off there being probably your most highest profile job, being up and down at Bannon's place there. do you still get, and obviously that one would have given you good job satisfaction because it was well documented and there was cameras there and all that type of stuff, and something to look back on. Do you get a chance to do that on a standard job? Would you get a chance to look back and at all the jobs and still get that same job satisfaction?
If a job is finished off and it's finished off to good taste, and
you get paid.
Yeah, and you get paid. It's always nice to be paid for your work at the end of it. Yeah, I suppose sometimes if you go back and if somebody's happy, it gives you good satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like if a job falls apart at the end, if somebody's not happy over something, like because of what we do, it's so intrusive.
Yeah.
You become part of someone's life.
Yeah.
For the guts of a year, no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're seeing you at least every week. They're in contact with you every day or every other day. So you've become part of their life.
Yeah.
So by the time they get to the end of the job, they might be frustrated. You know, it's more often than not there's delays because there's additional works.
Yeah.
So the jobs don't come in on time to the original schedule because there's always variations added on. So tensions can be high, let's say.
It's a stressful place.
Very.
I mean, the homeowner's been pulled generally into most of the time into temporary living accommodation, some sort of temporary living. Kids are put out, and it's a massive stressful time for the homeowner as well. A good one there actually. When living out in Australia, I used to thought working with a good few builders over there. One thing they used to do very, very well was keep the homeowner involved in the project, as in with progress. They used to do a thing when they got the ground level, they'd pop a bottle of champagne, get everyone in, have a bottle of champagne at ground level stage, have a glass on the slab, and then when they do the same, they got the first floor, they get everyone in, do the same thing. I just thought, it's a nice touch that, just to keep the homeowner involved, because generally then when it gets to the end of that job, they remember, they're not too bad then builders, and they had us in, we had a bit of crack with them. You have an interesting structure that gets you these jobs, right, that I would call a more traditional structure to a business, being you get the trades close to you. What's your thinking around that? Why? And what I mean for people that don't know is that you have everything under this cascade group, being electrical, painting. What's your thinking behind that? Why go for that structure of a company?
I suppose it goes back to the first question of how we built the company, and we built it with a level of professionalism that we wanted to achieve. We didn't want to have that cowboy status or whatever people's, whatever they generally think of a builder.
Yeah.
It's not all good, but we wanted to try and keep control of the standards. Mm-hmm. We wanted to keep projects coming in on time, and above all else, I suppose, the after sales. If you've got a subcontractor in and he's busy and there's a problem, and like every job, there's teething problems with everything. Yeah. I'd say that the beginning of every job all the way through till the end, to manage the expectations, because there's always something. So if someone has a small leak or even a major leak or a power outage or something like that, you want to be able to get somebody to them as quickly as possible. And if you've got a subcontractor, that's not always easy to do because they've got their own commitments, they've their own business to run, and sometimes you might be in second or third place. So the biggest thing was to have control over that and to have good after sales, keep us on track throughout the job, be able to hit our own targets of basically if we need a contractor in or a particular trade in on a certain date, we know we can hit it with our own staff. Whereas if you've got a subcontractor, you're more than likely going to be let down because they're trying to stretch themselves and cover their own work, etc. So
the key to that strategy then, and key to that structure, is having good staff. And one of the biggest issues out there is finding good lads. How do you go about sort of identifying good lads and keeping them happy, I suppose? I mean, it's a notorious industry for, you keep a lad happy, but a guy tips him on the shoulder and he's gone. He's gone out the door. No matter how well you treat him, he gets that offer. And you understand the mortgage to pay, kids to feed, all that type of stuff. How do you go about retaining staff?
A lot of our staff have been with us for years, so there is a factor of loyalty there as well. Generally, everybody's looking for money at the end of the day, so we will try and approach that subject before anybody else gets the chance. So we'll bring a raise to the table before it comes from the staff member themselves. And we generally find that helps because people they know they're appreciated then, and they don't have to wait to get extra money because they know what they're doing is worth it, and more often than not it is. So trying to retain them, we try and look after them as well, So if they've got issues, we try and take care of the issues. Like anything, the guys have family lives. If they've got problems, sick kids, or need to do whatever, pick kids up from school, need to go to parent-teacher meetings, we just let them off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you work with it. We know everybody has a family, so essentially just try and work closely with the lads, and you get to learn who's going to stick around and who's not, and you know, it's just your experience, I suppose. It's
not a very loyal industry, and if there is some loyalty in there, you can create that and retain it. So you're doing something right. Let's get into what everyone wants to know. Round to Pro, give us the inside story. How did you go about ending up? First of all, were you confident at the tender stage that you would get in there, or was it something you said you put your name in the hat and see what happens, or how did it all come about?
Well, we were contacted like any other tender, to be honest with you. We had known Patricia Power from working with her before, and we'd also known the engineer on the job, structural engineer Kieran O'Brien, because we'd done his house the previous year. So obviously a very good recommendation came from him to Dermot. So that's how we got into the mix of tenderers. Was I confident of getting it? Probably not. I'd say in the back of my mind, obviously you never know who you're going up against at tender stage. It's not revealed to you for obvious reasons. But I probably thought that maybe someone else who had done Room to Improve before would have got it. Now, we've had the chance to do Room to Improve, and we've been offered one or two of them, but just couldn't meet the prices. Simple. Is there, I suppose that's something people would always be keen to know, is there do you have to give up a bit of margin for the access you're getting to, so you have to give up a little bit of margin for the sake of the exposure you're getting on the job? Yeah, absolutely. So there is not much now in the grand scheme of things. I would say overall we gave up close to 2%. So it's enough. It's enough when you think about, look, there's people think you're making a fortune when you're a builder. It's just not the case. There's so many variables, so many things that can go wrong. So 2% would be a big stake, but overall, to get a job, get the exposure, and at the end of the day, probably no one else is going to ever get the chance to say we're the ones who did Dermot Bannon's house. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the space you play in, that sort of high-end residential little space, there's probably not a better flagship project that you can attach yourself to than that project, and that will probably go on for years to come. I mean, it was. I mean, you're saying 2%. To me, that's a bargain. I think that's an absolute bargain. So depends what comes out of it. It really does. You would expect a bit to come out of it, surely. Well, I do. You get a lot of nuisance calls and such, you know. Stuff that we just. You get a few calls or whatever, and it's not like you're being cheeky or anything, saying, look, we're too big for that anymore. We were already sort of too big, you know, but you're getting more of that now. Calls for doing things that are just generally too small. But I suppose what we wanted out of it was, if we get to the final 2 or 3 in a tender process, that'll give us a chance to actually get to the table and speak with the client. The lads that done Dermot Bannon's place. At least we'll get a chance to possibly turn that into a sale. Whereas before, it might be just a case of, 9 times out of 10, it's look, the cheapest price wins, and that's it, and they don't speak to the contractor 2 or 3 on the list. I suppose what's not in that 2% then would be, he was obviously hit with a fair few delays. That's what the show showed. Was that right? Was that accurate? There was a fair few delays. Yeah, absolutely, huge amounts of delays. Big problems. We were expecting to be out of there in 7 months, and we should have been, only for exactly what you saw on TV. Just Dermot hit a brick wall at everything he tried to make a decision on. How accurate of a showing was the TV compared to what actually happened out in site? Accurate enough, in fairness. You probably could have done the show for 4 hours rather than 2. But I mean, everybody would have been sick of hearing, there's another delay. There's another delay. It doesn't make great TV, I suppose, if it's the same problem over and over again. What was he? What? I mean, would you work? Would you do it again? That's a big question. If the tender came up here today, knowing now what you know, would you go again? I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I would question it. I'm glad I've done it because it's out of the way. And turned out well. But would I like to go through it again? No. Could I do it once? Yes, and I have done, but I don't think I could do it again. So what would you say was the biggest takeaway then? Like, I suppose, is there anything that you would have learned in that project now that you can take forward and say, well, I'll never allow that to happen again on future projects, and that's the way I'm going to
mitigate against that type of risk again. Is there anything that one key learning that you would have taken away from that project?
I wouldn't think so, to be honest with you. It's such it's such a unique situation that who the client was, who the architect was, same person. It's on TV, so you've got to be careful with the words you choose, how you come across, etc. But I don't think there's anything I learned from it, to be honest with you. It's you just have to act as professionally as you possibly can, like in any job.
And to be honest with you, you did come across quite professional and quite not stressed out. And I remember sitting with my wife watching that, saying he's got to be stressed out of his head here. What like? And I was up on the job with you one day. I remember that, and you didn't genuinely seem that stressed out, even though there was a lot going on. Like, were you underneath saying, this is just one of them jobs I can't get stressed out on, or were you underneath pulling your hair out?
It is, to be honest with you. I've learned to manage stress because we've that many jobs on. If you let one stress you out, you're going to let another one and another one and another one, and that's not good for you. So you sort of have to you have to learn to take an awful lot on the chin in this business, to be honest with you. Every day there's a new problem. Every day there's a new mistake. Every day something else is going to cost you money. And it doesn't matter who you are. To everybody, that's the main frustration and stress factor is you're losing money. So you need to learn to take that on the chin. You're going to lose a certain amount of money. Let's hope to make it up somewhere else. And that's the attitude you have to keep. Just to be able to do the job and stay sane at the end of it. Yeah, and hopefully all that evens itself out, I suppose. Exactly, yeah.
What's the plan for Cascade? I mean, you're in a nice little niche now. You've got a good reputation, lovely projects. I mean, is that where you want to play, or do you have any ambitions to sort of grow, keep growing, or what's the plan?
Yeah, huge ambitions. We've been trying for years, but like before let's call it the latest boom that sort of happened, we were looking to try and develop our own sites and stuff like that. So we had a couple of contacts, estate agents here and there, a couple of architects who would be interested, and everybody pulling together and trying to do something. But with the price of land and houses and everything just got way out of hand, everything just went up. It just became out of reach.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're trying to go for bigger developments. Obviously they won't be our own, but they'd be for developers and potential clients in the future. Like we've one at the moment there that we're close to getting. It's a 23 house development in Kilkenny.
Okay.
So we're the preferred contractor on the list at this stage, and that's the direction we want to go in, sort of.
How will that affect the company structure? As in, you've had a tendency to keep everything in house with the trades, and you go up to a site of that size. What will tend to happen then? Will you sort of go back to your more what other developers are doing, as in pretty much everything gets outsourced, or how do you go and manage that project?
On a project that size, you would have to treat it differently because you're not dealing with one customer, one homeowner who's trying to get back into the house and has the stresses of everyday lives behind them. You're dealing with a developer who has a plan in place, decisions are made. There's not going to be very many variations. Everything's accounted for. So it's going to be treated differently, and especially with the locale that it's in Kilkenny, so we'll have to use a lot of local subcontractors and stuff like that. So you would treat it very differently. So Cascade Group as a whole will stay as normal in Dublin, in the Greater Dublin area, and we'll try and undertake that as well on the side.
Is that what you sort of, as a business owner, taking on a project that size, is that something you'd say, I've got to oversee this, or would you look to take on a project manager who has experience with that type of project? What would be the plan of that?
I'd have to be in the mix of that, in the trenches, just to make sure you know exactly what's going on. So we'll put a trusted foreman that we already have within the company down there, and then myself and Aidan will do a visit or 2 visits a week each on it, just to make sure that everything is running as is and as it's supposed to be.
It's a fascinating company. We get the privilege, and we call it privilege, to get to sit with tons of companies, and your one always struck out to me is how well you operate that business with us, a lot of moving parts. If there's any QSs, any architects out there that want to get in touch with you, where will they find you?
All our details are on the website, cascade.ie, so you can pretty much contact us from there.
And are you active on any LinkedIn and that like that?
I don't actually know the link though. That's the only thing.
Graham Byrne, LinkedIn, I'm sure. Cascade.
You'll find us.
I connect with you. Graham, listen, thanks for popping in.
No
Do
problem.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Appreciate you having me.
Cheers.